If you've been watching the Denver market since mid-2022 and thinking, what is going on? You're not crazy. Because here's the paradox. A lot of homes aren't selling no matter how hard they seem to try, but the best ones can still spark a bidding war, sometimes even after sitting on the market for 20 to 45 days. So in this video, I'm going to break down what I'm seeing on the ground in the Denver Metro and Boulder County markets, why so many homes have failed to sell over the last few years, and why the best properties can still trigger multiple offers. And if you're here because your home didn't sell, I'll make this really simple. It's usually not a mystery. It's almost always poor strategy. If we haven't met, I'm Stu Galvis with the Galvis Group, and I've been doing this for almost 21 years, and I've been a part of over 850 transactions. I'm not here to sugarcoat it or make you feel better. I'm here to make it clear and fixable. The big shift is this. Since the first week of June 2022, the market hasn't stopped changing. Here's what most people miss about failed listings. When a home doesn't sell, one of two things happens. If the seller has to sell, they usually make a price or strategy change until it moves. If the seller doesn't have to sell or they just want to move, they'll often pull it off the market. And then a lot of those still want to move sellers come back the next year and list again, which creates what I call the quiet inventory problem. Failed listings don't disappear. A lot of them just keep coming back for more. And when you stack multiple years of those homes that failed to sell, the second half of 2022, then 23, 24, and now this year, you get a compounding effect. More supply plus not enough buyer demand to absorb it evenly. And the buyer demand has been choppy because mortgage rates have been volatile. And honestly, the broader news cycle and economy have made people cautious about big decisions. So the imbalance builds quietly and then it shows up as, well, why is my home not selling? Now here's the part that gets me really fired up. Most people chalk a failed listing up to the market, but no one can control the market. All a seller and their agent can control is how they respond to it. When you look at a listing that didn't sell, it's usually one or more controllables. First is positioning, which means the home wasn't positioned correctly for its neighborhood or micromarket. Second is presentation. The condition didn't match what buyers expect at that price point. The next is pricing, which means the strategy was based on yesterday's comps instead of today's competition. Sometimes it's the marketing, right? The plan didn't create enough clarity, urgency, or momentum. That's exactly why one of my biggest target markets is expired listings, because most of the time the home didn't lose to the market. The strategy just didn't match the market. And the good news is strategy's fixable. Now let's talk about the paradox buyers hate. Even in a market where buyers have more leverage overall, the best properties can still trigger multiple offers. I've seen it repeatedly. In fact, two of my buyers in the past month found homes that were a great fit, so we wrote offers, and both ended up in multiple offer scenarios. And here's what's wild. Those homes had been on the market for 3 to 4 weeks. So why would a home that's been sitting suddenly get multiple offers? Because most buyers are hesitant right now. They watch, they wait, they sit on the fence, and then the moment there's perceived scarcity, boom, they act. That's how you get multiple offers on a home that's been sitting for 20 to 45 days. And there's one variable that consistently changes buyer behavior fast: mortgage interest. What I see on the ground is that buyer demand tends to pick up when rates drop to around or below 6.25%, and it gets even more noticeable at or below 6%. Why does that matter? Because lower rates don't just change affordability, they change confidence. When rates dip, more buyers re-enter the market all at the same time, and when more buyers show up at once, the best homes start to feel scarce again. So if rates stay near that range, you should expect more competition for the best homes, more multiple offer scenarios, and a bigger gap between the shiny penny homes and the average homes. And this is the whole point. For most people, getting a good outcome feels like luck. For me and my clients, though, it isn't. It's about knowing what actually matters in the current market, recognizing when a home is truly the best option among the active inventory, and moving quickly and decisively without overpaying. Here's a quick real-world example. One of my buyers, we'll call her Zoe, moved quickly and decisively on an incredible home we found last week. And I'll say it plainly, if she hadn't, she would have lost it. The listing agent told me there were 2 other buyers who had already gone back for second showings the week before. That's the kind of signal a lot of people ignore right up until they're suddenly in a multiple offer situation, wondering where the competition came from. But because we knew the market and we'd already seen the other likely options, we knew this home was the best fit. So we demonstrated commitment, we moved fast, and she won the bidding war without having to overpay or donating her future equity. That's not luck, that's execution. So if your home didn't sell, here's the real question. And it's not, what's wrong with the market? The question is, what needs to change about your strategy so that your home wins in this market? Because the market's always changing, and the winners are people who adapt. So if your listing failed, or you're thinking about selling, or you just want to buy one of the best ones without getting beat in a bidding war, I can help. If you're selling or relisting in the next 90 days, book a quick strategy call using the link in the blog or text SELL to my number, and I'll send you my simple plan to reposition a listing that didn't work the first time. And if you're buying and trying to win the shiny penny, book a buyer game plan call or text BUY, and I'll send you my strategy to win the right home without getting emotional, overpaying, or donating your future equity. Again, I'm Stu Galvis and I sell houses. It's not magic, it's not the market, it's science.